instead of pizza and beer, tonight we have wine. It was going to be ice cream, but I had to wait on this camera to charge, and so then I ate all my ice cream. So now we're drinking wine. I got a question over DM, and I thought that I would bring it here and give you guys my thoughts, but also see like what you guys think this person should do. So let's get into it. This person works in the medical field, and the issue is that their employer, they don't offer health insurance, but rather they offer a reimbursement. So it's a set amount of money, a couple $100 each month that they tack on to their paycheck to, again, pay them back for getting health insurance privately on their own. So this person is new to this job. They just started last month, and so far they've yet to receive this promised reimbursement. So I guess the month of August went by. They didn't get it. They talked with their supervisor, and their supervisor said that they could expect it on a paycheck in late September. Well, it's now late September. They've, gotten a couple checks, and they still have yet to receive it. In addition to that, they recently got paid and noticed they call it an unlisted deduction on their pay stub. So I don't know if they mean that basically their paycheck is short and that dollar amount's not accounted for in the listed deductions on their pay stub, or if it is listed on the deductions but it's like not it's called something vague or something like that. So approximately $700 is missing from their paycheck, which is roughly the amount that's owed to them as a health insurance reimbursement. They've not heard from their employer, and they want to address it. So they seem pretty upset about this, which 100%, $700 is a lot of money. And I am going to start by saying I am not at all familiar with Massachusetts law, so I can only speak based upon my own personal experience and what I know about Pennsylvania law. So my personal thoughts are that first you should try to find any documentation that you can possibly find that discusses this health insurance reimbursement as a benefit. So I don't know if this is a standard benefit to all employees, if this is something you negotiated, what have you, but anywhere that you can find mention of this, I would do some digging and try to find that. You can look obviously in your email, in your offer letter, your contract. Typically they give you like a package of information about your benefits. You can look there, whatever. But you don't necessarily need evidence from my experience, but having it does help support your claims and help, against the kind of he said, she said that your employer is probably going to be arguing, oh, we don't offer that. Oh, they're making that up. This is a misunderstanding, whatever. So I would do that first. And then second, whenever you do bring this up to your employer, I would start with an email. So as much documentation as you can possibly acquire. So send your supervisor or HR, whoever, an email and say, hey, I noticed a discrepancy on my paycheck, dated XYZ date. There is an issue with the reimbursement for my health insurance, and I'm wondering if we can have a conversation on XYZ date. Then you go and you have that conversation, and then follow up with an email kind of summarizing the discussion, any action items that, were agreed upon, timelines that were agreed upon, etc. Send that follow-up email as well. So now you have, a timeline, you have proof that you have attempted to negotiate with your employer and resolve this. And then you also have their response. So if they say something like, happy to talk about this healthcare reimbursement issue, like that then shows that they're aware of the issue. They've acknowledged it. They've acknowledged it's a benefit, even if you can't find it written anywhere else, etc. So it just helps your cause to have things written down and have documentation and conversations written down. It's also hard to remember what was said as well after the fact. So anyways, then when you head into this conversation, I would be very careful about the language. I would almost even consider like kind of playing dumb. I wouldn't maybe let them know how upset you are, because you don't want to give them a reason to get suspicious or think that you might pursue action against them, and then they might try to fire you. It is illegal to fire you because you're complaining about wage theft, but it does happen all the time. And, you know, presumably, obviously, you need this money until you can find another job. And so don't let them, you know that you are as upset as you are. You're new to this job. You could even really use that. I think it's a perfect excuse to kind of play dumb, like, oh, maybe this is an accounting error. Oh, I'm not sure. Like, this is really confusing. What could be wrong? And, you know, employers, they try sometimes to use firing employees as a way to scare other employees and create fear around, you know, taking action or speaking up or what have you. And that allows employers to continue to get away with things like this, because they just kind of, they fire people anytime they kind of make a commotion. And obviously people need their jobs and they don't want to get fired. So that's my suggestion. I think you need to decide whether you want to pursue this individually and kind of only worry about your own money, or whether you want to try to figure out if this is more widespread and try to take collective action for everyone to potentially get their money back that's been stolen, if this is more widespread. Either one is obviously, like, it's up to you, whatever works best. But if you choose the route of only pursuing your own case, I would not tell anybody up there what you are doing. I would be very cautious about saying anything, because unfortunately management and owners do tend to have their little spies, and you, again, don't want to get in a bind, get caught, get fired. If you choose the route of trying to gather support from other coworkers and take collective action, I would take some time, listen, see who complains about their paycheck, who seems really unhappy, what have you. And after maybe a couple of weeks of listening, you can really identify some people that seem really upset, and invite them off site to have a conversation. Go to lunch, get coffee, get dinner, get happy hour, whatever, but somewhere off site where you are away from the eyes and the ears of management and management's, little spies. So you can have a more honest conversation. Try to ask them some open-ended questions like, has this ever happened before? Or how do you feel about this? Or have you ever done anything in the past to try to resolve this? And see what they say. And, based upon some of the things that they say, then that can help you identify whether they would be really interested in pursuing action or not. And I would take some time to try to build some rapport with these people, because they're going to be much more likely to kind of join your cause once you do have that rapport. It's a long road. It takes a long time, whether you go as a group or individually. So I do think it's important to have that rapport and that camaraderie, because it's hard to stick it out. And I think when you care about the people that you're in it with, then it offers you more reason to stick it out versus not knowing those people very well. And then you're kind of like, you know what, I don't have time for this. Like, you can count me out kind of thing. I did research, and the Massachusetts Attorney General's office does offer free wage theft clinics, so you can go and get advice, free legal advice on what to do. If you can't make any of those, I would recommend, they have like a list of organizations that kind of co-sponsor these clinics. Reach out to some of them and see what kind of advice they can offer you. It's a long, lonely road, so having an organization that's familiar with the process, that can guide you, that can support you and cheer you on, will help immensely, especially when the times get tough.